Hi, I'm Jeannie Redmond, and I'm at the beautiful new facility of New Morning. New Morning is unique. They cover from El Dorado Hills to Echo Summit, helping teenagers. And El Dorado County is so fortunate in having this facility and the ability to help these young kids that need guidance from professionals, and I am so impressed. And when you see this film on what is happening here, so will you. This is David Ashby, Executive Director of New Morning.
Hi, Jeannie.
What is the thing that New Morning really provides youth?
The best thing that we provide is a sense of self-worth. Many of the youth that come to us without a sense of self-worth or a sense of not being valued. In that time period that they work with our staff member, either here or at our counseling center, if we consistently give them the message, you have value as a human being, I care about you, I want you to succeed, I want you to be happy. Eventually, that starts clicking in their own mind, and they start feeling as if they have self-worth and self-value. The cycle here is that then that makes them behave in a way to the rest of the world that gets reinforcement for being valued. And it's a little piece of magic.
You've been here 17 years, 14 years.
14 years. Oh gosh,
Well, time goes. What still gets you so excited?
Well, I guess let's look at this building. A wonderful community that helped contribute money, resources to make this structure possible. An incredible board of directors, an incredibly dedicated, highly professional staff who just do incredible things on a day-to-day basis, who never ever gives up on a child. And then the last one is the clients and the families themselves who struggle, who come in and make the changes necessary to turn their lives around.
Okay, you interact with a lot of agencies in this county. Who are they?
Well, we currently partner with 15 different schools directly. We partner with the Community Health Center, probation, public health, mental health, the Sheriff's Office, the Police Department, Big Brothers and Big Sisters, Boys Club and Girls Club, the Center for Violence-Free Relationships. You name an agency and we're working with them. Kids come into our services, they need a lot of resources.
Okay, David, if you could wave the magic wand, what would you want? What would you do?
In real terms, I would love to be able to have resources for preventive and early intervention services. We get a lot of kids that come into our services who really need help today to keep them from having serious problems down the road. But resources, the economy is tight. And many times we cannot provide those services today. And we end up having to wait until a kid goes through a major crisis.
Well, thank you so much, David. This is Steve Healy, and he is the shelter social worker here at New Morning. Okay, we all like to do what we like to do. What do you like and love most about this job?
Well, I like working with the kids and working with the families directly. I really love helping kids who need a little help, and I love helping families through difficult situations, turning difficult situations into opportunities to learn how to be a better family and go away strengthened, and it just is very rewarding.
I'm so stressed. I have to do my homework and I didn't do it for the class, and I don't know how to do it. I don't understand it, and my parents won't help me because they don't care. They're so mean to me. I'm gonna go. See you later.
If you find her my house, is the red hat.
Hello class, we're gonna have a little quiz today. It's stuff that we already covered, so there's nothing new here. So I'm gonna pass this out and just do your best. Pass this back to your friends there. Olivia, la primera pregunta. María puede. Lindsay, how about number 3? Buena idea. Lindsay, number 3. Buena idea. Él.
I don't know.
Él.
I don't.
Hi. I'm Valerie Belknap.
I'm Andy.
Andy, have a seat.
One of my friends, she ran away, and I'm a little concerned.
Okay. Do you know where she's at?
I don't.
You don't? Oh. I bet you're afraid for her, huh? So how long has it been since you've seen her?
It's been a few days.
Okay. Okay, so I have some information for you to give to her when if and when she contacts you, okay? And it's for the New Morning Youth and Family Services, the shelter. And this is their number. And she can get a hold of someone there 24 hours a day, and then they will give her directions on how to get there.
Oftentimes, what appears to a child to be the worst day in their life can leave them very vulnerable and very troubled. It's great when that person is able to get to the shelter. We have lots of people in this community who know about the shelter and refer young people, and we always feel good when they get to us safely. That is where we begin the work to turn this worst day in their life into a new way of living, and we re-engage them and their parents in 90% of the cases, and both the young person and their parents come to counseling and are able to make good progress and turn things around from a real low point in both of their lives. This is not what parents want to do. Parents don't like to see their kids like this, and this isn't the way parents envision them doing their job, nor is it the way young people want to live.
My name's Shayna. What's your name?
Lindsay.
Lindsay. Okay, I got a call from the police before you got here that you were coming, but they didn't tell me much. Can you tell me a little bit about what might happen?
I kind of ran away because of like school stuff, and my parents are really rude and they're really like, I'm just done. It's just stupid, and school is really hard. I used to be so good at it, but now it's just...
Sometimes things are hard. Okay, everything's gonna be okay. This is a safe place for kids, and we actually have a lot of fun here. Okay, do you know anything about where you are, the shelter?
No.
Okay, this is called New Morning. We're a shelter for kids, and I'll call your family and make sure that they know you're here and that you're safe. And then we'll go from there, okay?
Okay.
But everything's gonna be okay, you don't need to worry. And then I'll take you out and introduce you to some of the other residents. We like to play games, and we like to go outside and go for walks, and we make sure that you go to school, and we have homework help. And anytime you need anything, you could talk to any one of us. We're very, very, very good at listening. If you follow me, I'm going to show you to your room, okay? Okay. This is going to be your bedroom. Okay. You can have either bed you want. Which one?
It's very easy to help the parents and the young person agree that this is not how they want to live their life. This is certainly not how they envision being a parent or how they want to be as a teenager. The therapist's job is to help the young person identify how they want home to be, and to have the parents and their child agree on some goals, and then ask the young person to talk about ways they can make things better when they get home. And we ask the parents to do the same. And by improving the family communication and by getting everybody working on the same goals, we're usually able to be real successful. Families are real appreciative of our services.
You've seen lots of successes, haven't you?
I've had lots of success.
Thank you again, Steve. Really enjoyed it. So much information. I'm talking to Valerie Belknap, who's a public health nurse, El Dorado County employee at El Dorado High School.
That's right.
Unique position. And why do you feel New Morning is such an important part of the community, the resource?
The students that I see at El Dorado or other places within the community, New Morning is a needed resource because it gives us options on where there are no other options available to some of the families and children.
And so you work closely with the families and the students as well.
That's right.
So how does that work?
Because my office is located at El Dorado High School, I am able to interview students, and they let me in on some of the things that are happening within their families and that's causing them problems at school. And with interviews and finding out what's going on, I'm able to determine whether or not the shelter would be an option for them and their family.
Okay, are they referred to you, or how does this quick process work?
They can be referred to me by the teachers at the high school, by other nurses within the high school district, or other employees, or they can bring friends in that say they're having problems within families and they need someone to talk to.
As a public health nurse, I'm sure you've seen changes in this community.
Yes.
So what do you see?
Well, as we're all seeing changes within the community, with economic changes. So we're finding that there are a lot of families that are living together or displaced out of their homes. And so New Morning, for some of the students that I see, is an option for families to be able to have their children at a safe location while they're able to stay in another shelter, let's say, and to start the process of rebuilding housing for their family. It can be escalated things that have gone on, crisis situations, to this is coming, and sometimes it's a planned event.
So you find New Morning
Families
is really
living together, it's a needed resource. It really is. Families living together, financial crises, and things like that we're able to use New Morning as a crisis situation for families in crisis.
How do you base the decision to have someone come here?
Would be a student that she was a runaway, and she was 15, just turned 16, and she ran away from home, and her parents found out that she was back and she was at the school, and the parents came in and they were really angry. And they knew that I knew the family and the students, so they asked me to come down, and we talked, and it just wasn't de-escalating very well. They were really still very angry. So I brought up the shelter as a place for the student to come, to be able to separate everyone, to be able to get services for everyone so everyone could cool off. And it would be just more a positive experience for everyone.
Did they cool off?
They did. The student received services from New Morning as far as counseling, and so did the family. And they ended up reunifying not long after. So that particular situation worked out very well.
You must love what you do.
It's something new every day. I do like it. I love it.
I'm talking to Jan Askins, and she's a clinical supervisor here at New Morning. I want to know, what services does New Morning offer to the community?
New Morning offers two different services, our shelter services and our mental health services. And what I'm going to talk about is our mental health services. We work with children and their families ages 0 to 18. We have a specialized program for our children ages 0 to 5 and their parents. And then we also have a school-based program where our therapists are in the schools offering services at the school site to make it more convenient and easy for the community to access services. We also have our clinic-based services where people come in and we do individual and family therapy. We also offer a variety of groups for children and parenting groups for parents.
What is your role here, Jan?
Well, as Chief Clinical Supervisor, my role has to do with mostly with training our staff and supporting the staff in providing the quality services that they do. I work closely with the program director to implement the programs and decide where we want to go with our services and how we want to train our clinicians. And another of my role is to support our clinicians in getting what they need so that they can give back to the community. Another of my roles is to provide some direct services, so I also have a small caseload and work directly with families and children.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Jan. I'm talking to Lori Hagan. Lori, how did you get to know about New Morning? How did you get involved?
Well, my son, who's now 22, was diagnosed with early onset bipolar when he was about 10 years old. And part of the way that manifests itself are behavioral issues similar to ADHD. I knew when he was about 13 years old, the stress of his acting out really was causing so much stress in the house it was almost palatable. And the counselor at the school told us about New Morning and suggested that maybe it would be an opportunity for some respite time where we could get away from each other. So we went home and the three of us chatted about it, my husband, myself, and my son, and decided yes, it would be a good opportunity just to have some time away, and called the shelter and they did have room available. So we packed his bags and brought him up to the shelter, which was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. Knocking on the door, I felt like such a failure as a mom. You know, here I was, college educated, successful professional, and I was
Doesn't make any difference, does
failing
it?
at the most important job in life, that of being a parent. And my biggest concern was that on the other side of the door, those folks were going to be judging me the same way. And they didn't. They, brought us in, showed us around the facility, told us about the expectations and the rules. My son stayed a week, which was a great respite time. We met with a therapist before we came back, and they taught us all coping skills and how to diffuse situations rather than, have them escalate out of control like they had. And he actually decided to come back one more time a couple years later, just when everybody needed a little breathing room and to break that cycle that you can find yourself in.
Okay, what is it about you that makes you such an advocate for New Morning?
Well, when you're in that situation, you feel as though you are all alone, that nobody's ever gone before you in those shoes. You feel isolated. It's not something that people talk about on the sidelines at your kid's soccer game. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's important for people to know that there are resources available. I also wanted people to know that I think people think of places like this as for the homeless or the folks from dysfunctional households or the taken away. And it's not. The services are available for all walks of life, all different types of situations.
So what quick advice could you give to someone out there in that situation?
If you find yourself in conflict with your teenager, recognize New Morning has all kinds of services available, and they're only a phone call away, and they are a wonderful resource.
So now I need to know, how is your son doing?
He's doing great. He is working part-time and going to college part-time, and he has found his way in life, and he's just doing great.
The hardest week for you, but the most beneficial.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I have Dequatre with me, and tell me, what do you do?
Right now, I'm the middle school counselor for Rolling Hills Middle School. And before that, about 10 years ago, I used to work for the Placerville Union School District as the homeless coordinator.
Okay, in your position, what struggles do you see in this community as it relates with the youth and how New Morning is involved?
I see, since my role has changed slightly from being a homeless coordinator to being a counselor at the high school level and now at the middle school, it's been access to mental health services, and access to, another piece of that is access to offering a safe place for our youth to be.
And the youth, do they come to you or do you go to them?
It can, depending on what my role has been, it could be either. As I was homeless coordinator, my job was to reach out to them and identify children who might be living in homeless situations, or if they were foster youth, it was my job to reach out to them.
Now, we know there's a homeless problem up here. Probably more severe than most people realize. So how do you work with that?
When I started 10 years ago, I started this program in the Placerville Union School District from the ground up, and there really was no awareness of homelessness. And since I was mandated by law to identify youth and children who were experiencing homelessness, I started reaching out to local shelters and whatever services were providing maybe something to homeless. And I think I somewhat opened a Pandora's box. And
in what way?
By saying the word homeless. I got a lot of surprised looks and questions about, what do you mean there's homeless people living in our community? We don't see them. And when I started to focus more on what the education's definition was of homelessness, that it defined people who had to move out of their situation if they lost their housing.
Okay, how many youths are involved with homelessness?
How many youth?
Yeah.
That is a huge issue, because it's very difficult to identify them. They're not wanting to be necessarily identified.
Well, thank you so much for coming and talking about this problem, and I could talk to you for a long time.
Hello, this is George Nielsen. I'm Chief of Police for the City of Placerville Police Department, and I'm currently the Board President for New Morning Youth and Family Services. New Morning is a great asset in our community. It serves a great purpose in filling a huge gap that we have. It saves a lot of money in helping us serve kids and families within our community. These are kids who would otherwise have to be placed in juvenile hall, or we'd spend a lot of resources trying to find a temporary shelter or a temporary place for them to be. New Morning is a huge asset. It helps us save money, and it helps us serve kids and families.